Yeah, it was. I think that's the fourth game under a goal this year, so pretty long match review this week. So Brad pointed out a few little things that we've got to get right, and I'm sure we'll, as a team, as a club, we'll improve that. It's pretty heartbreaking to lose a game, but to lose them by 1 or 2 points, as I said, to be the fourth time this year, it really hurts. So we just got to make sure that we're doing everything right. Starts out in the training track. Training was pretty good on Tuesday, and we'll take that into this week's game, no doubt.
In all your years, where does that rate up there, that loss?
Well, the last 2 weeks have been pretty similar, to say the truth. It's always hard to lose after the siren. But that, being 5 goals up with 13 minutes to go, it's digs pretty deep. And as a leadership group, we've got to take responsibility for that. I know people speak about Brad all the time, but the whole footy club has to take ownership of it. And Daniel and I are both in the leadership group, and we're first to put our hands up to say that we need to get better in that area and make sure that everybody around us is switched on and ready to go in that last quarter, so to speak, because that's when we've lost a lot of games.
So what are you doing in that last quarter as a leader out there? What sort of things can you do differently?
I think you just got to stand up and be counted for, and making sure that everybody are in their positions. There's no lapses in concentration, because that's the biggest thing that comes out of it. You look at the review during the week, and the goals they scored, they're easy goals, and they're pretty much due to our mistakes. So we just got to make sure that everybody's on board, and trust me, they are. We don't mean to do it, but it's just happened 2 or 3 times this year.
Look like the boys are doing a few 100-metre repetitive sprints.
Yeah.
Is that punishment?
Nah, it's not punishment. It's something that we do when we've got a 7-day break. We've got our main training session tomorrow, so we just get a little bit of lactic acid build up today and work pretty hard. But that's not punishment, no.
In your time at the club, has any of the draftees, do you reckon, had bigger raps on him than Daniel had when he arrived at the club?
Probably not. I think you went number 2 after Brendan Goddard, so pretty high in the pecking order. And with that comes expectation, and it's how people handle themselves around the football club. And I can promise you that my dealings with Daniel at the footy club and the way he conducts himself around the football club, not only his football ability, but the way he treats people and the respect that he's got for our footy club, he certainly deserved that number 2 pick.
Were you surprised he seemed to get rated pretty harshly by the media, or pretty hard by the media the first years? And was there a point, I guess, past 3 or 4 years where you've actually realised they're finally giving him the respect you think he's deserved for a while?
Yeah, and I don't think Daniel worries too much about the outside influence that the media have. We certainly don't, because we know his role within the team, and that's not to go out and get 30 possessions, because Wellsy's 15 possessions are just as good as anybody else's 30 possessions. If he has it 15 times, we're probably going to score 5 or 6 extra goals. So internally we know what it's about. He had a couple of poor pre-seasons with his groin in terms of injury, but being a high draft pick, it happens, and we think he's handled himself very, very well. I mean, you've got to remember, he's one of best and fairest. He's playing his 200th game this week. If he was no good at football, he certainly wouldn't have lasted 200 games. So he's doing a pretty good job, I reckon.
Brent, the skipper said during the week that the leadership group massively questions itself after the Crows loss. Was there a sense you let some of the young blokes down in the game?
I think there's a sense that we let the whole football club down, and our supporters. You just can't be in that position and lose games. Not one game's bad enough. Four's just no good. So internally, again, we know what we've got to fix, and we'll fix them at training. Is it a fitness issue? I'm sure people are going to say yes. Is it a leadership issue? I'm sure people are going to say yes. But internally, we know what we've got to do, and we're working very, very hard to change things around. And we'll get there, because the football that we've played in patches this year, we believe that we can beat any single team on any single day. And you've only got to see Hawthorn, Geelong, the teams that we've been right in the contest. Some of the football we've played, and I was sitting in the coach's box, unfortunately for them, but to watch the boys, I was that proud of the way they're playing. And again, you just don't get the result. I think it was like that cricketer, was it one of the Chappell? Greg Chappell said he's hitting the ball pretty well, he's just not scoring. Very similar situation at the minute, but we have got a few things that we've got to fix, and we're doing that.
A lot of guys' individual mistakes, particularly late in the game, sort of pinpointed. Did you have to get around those guys this week and sort of bolster them up a bit?
We support everyone in every single situation. There's not, you can look back at that Nui mark the other week and you say, Lockie probably should have bodied him, but do you blame that for a loss? No, you don't. You go back through it the first quarter, the second quarter, and you find things that they broke tackles and things like that cost us games as well. So we never say it was one person. It's a whole team and a whole club issue. And as I said, we'll turn it around because we're a good team.
How do you stop, say, on the weekend, 4 goals up in 10 minutes to go, and the Saints kick a goal, sort of a sense of, like, maybe here we go again, sort of panic sort of scene?
No, there won't be no panic. As I said, we've trained on Tuesday and we'll train again tomorrow for situations like that. And we hope that we're not in that situation, because the stuff that we're implementing in our team meetings and our training structure now will take care of that, and we won't be a goal up with 30 seconds to go. We'll be in a winning position.
What did you think about criticism level of Brad Scott, and how was he in that meeting on Monday?
Well, Brad's a senior coach and he's got to run the review, so he's pretty animated, as you would imagine. But the criticism towards him, he says he cops it because he's the head coach. We don't let him cop it. We're the leadership group. We're the whole team. We're the 22 that runs out with him, or for him, I should say. And we won't let one person, whether it's the coach, the captain, or the first gamer, take responsibility for it. We all take that responsibility. Definitely.
How would you describe Brent's influence on your career and this club as a whole?
When I first came to the club as a young kid, he was, I think he might have been 23, 24, so he's just starting to hit his straps. He was a big-time player back then, and he's just continued it ever since. He sort of took me under his wing a little bit and, showed me how to work hard on the track and, try and be as professional as I can. He's just a player that's the ultimate professional. But probably the best thing I learned from Brent, probably not his footy, but the way he goes about it. He's a great family man with his kids, and when they come down, you can see, what kind of kids they are through their father, and I think he's done a great job, and that's something I've taken probably out of it the most, really, since I've been here.
How nice is it to share your 200 with his 350?
He's probably overshadowed me a little bit, but he tends to do that. He probably do it to the next one when he plays his 400th game. So, but I wouldn't have any other way. Yeah, it's been fantastic. Bloke who's really looked after me from day one, and for him to play 350 games, and I'm playing my 200th and I'm feeling quite sore, and I feel like I'm 35. I'm feeling pretty aged, but when you think about it, 350 games is just amazing. And to play my 200 with him, and the kids are going to run out together, and it's going to be a special day, hopefully.
There's nothing wrong with 35 years old either, mate.
Yeah.
And to get your impression on the situation with all these close losses. You're 200 games in now, you're a senior player at this club. How much do you feel the responsibility of getting around the younger players who potentially never experienced such public scrutiny over their performances and their positions? What sort of responsibility do you take in getting around them and reassuring them that this club's on the right path?
Yeah, it's important the young kids, when they come in, they know their roles, and we make sure we support them. But it's important that when we do our match reviews and our coaching reviews, and that's the voices they need to listen to. No use, listen to everyone else, because internally we know exactly why we've sort of lost those close games, and it was a good review to have last week. And I think even if we won the game, it probably still needed to happen. So those guys are really clear of how we want them to play, and there's no doubt as a leadership group we've let them down a little bit in that area. So we're looking forward to getting out there this week, and probably tomorrow really to train it, and train it nice and hard, and know that these young kids are they'll follow you anywhere you go. So a little bit has been our fault, but they're such great kids, and we're looking forward to them to really bounce back from it.
Last year, the thrashing by Hawthorn, a lot of the players came out in the weeks to follow and said that was the turning point, and publicly accepted that was the case. Do you think that this loss to the Crows could be that similar catalyst this year?
You can probably say that in 10 weeks down the track, when all the results are done, whether it's in our favour or not. That's when you can probably look back and say, yeah, that was probably a turning point. But every game you have to analyse it as close as you can, and this was a really big one for us to analyse against Adelaide, who overran us, and there's reasons why that happened. Like I said, we're very clear, and we'll go out and train it, and we can sort of come back to that conclusion where there was a turning point. But no doubt the team have stuck fat through this time. We've been in places like this before, but the difference is that we haven't been playing the kind of footy we have. We've been at places like this, and our season's pretty much almost over. So we've still got a shot at it, and you know, we're looking forward to playing against a pretty good team in St Kilda. We've got a lot of young kids, but you know, they've always been a tough team to beat.
Jack Siegel's just copped his third suspension for a bump in the last couple of years. How's he sort of responded to that?
Oh, he's a bit flat. Obviously, he won't be there. And he sent me a text message last night actually saying, not so much sorry, but he was disappointed he wouldn't be there for Daniel and I, our milestone. So that's just the type of bloke he is. I don't think he'll change the way he plays because he's an aggressive, aggressive player, and we don't want him to change the way he plays because if you do that, you get away from what he's about. So he's disappointed, no doubt, but he'll come back. He's an animal. He trains really, really hard, and he'll take these 3 weeks now to train hard, get fitter, and come back and make an impact because we'll still be in the making, or still be in the running to play finals football.
So you're saying that you're prepared to accept that element of Siegel's game is part and parcel, and therefore any suspensions he cops along the way are kind of acceptable?
Well, you can go out and tell Jack that he can't play like that. He probably won't get a game.
Is there a time when Brad Scott or other players in the group might step in and raise concern that all these missed matches are not worth it, and then he might have to make some adjustments?
You can't tell somebody to not attack the football, because if you do that, you're going away from the way Brad's played, and you go away from the way he coaches. So we won't be telling Jack that, no.
Is there a time though that you can put the phone out of your repertoire and say it's just not worth doing?
I don't think the ball's there, and Jack plays on instinct, and that's the only thing that Jack can do, and that's the way Wellesley plays. That's the way every single player plays. Unfortunately, he's copped another suspension. I honestly don't think Jack will change the way he's playing, and I don't think he can change the way he's playing, because if you take that instinct away from any footballer, it's like telling Drewy not to go for a mark. He's probably not going to rove too many balls, Drewy, so it's going to make it tough. So that's the kind of football that, tell Wellesley not to run with the football, because that's the way he's an instinctive player. He gets a football, he bursts out of a pack. Tell him not to do that, you take away his greatest strength. We all see the way Jack attacks the football. He's going to give away a lot of free kicks. And unfortunately, he goes twice as hard as anyone else in the competition. It's hard. It's hard for him, but I don't think he'll change the way he plays.
So it's perhaps more of a problem with the rule rather than the way that Jack plays?
I didn't say that.
What do you think about the loading?
The loading?
It's 1 game, now 3, would have been 4 if you...
Yeah, and that's probably the decision that the club have to make. I made that mistake of appealing and getting an extra 2 weeks, and you just got to weigh every situation up. When does Jack come back versus if he appeals it, and all that sort of stuff. And that's something that we don't really think about. That's for the club to handle, and we've got some good people in charge of that to do that. But Jack and the football club would have made that decision, and unfortunately, that's the way it's got to be.
But are you okay with the fact that he's copping a 50% loading?
Oh, you never are. It's my teammate. He's going to miss 3 weeks, and he's a great player, and I want him out there every single week. So I'm not okay with it, but I'm not Andrew Demetrio. I can't change the rules, or whoever runs the tribunal. I'm not too sure. I can't change that.
Danny, with names like Cable and Cracker, Pickett, how's it feel to be the first Indigenous player to play 200 games with this club?
Oh, didn't really know that, to be honest. That stat, but it's quite an honour when you put it that way. You read those names out. We had Phil and Jim here last week from Indigenous Round, and they shared their story, and it was the boys absolutely loved it. And to be sort of play the most games out of those guys is it's a real privilege, and very thankful.
And what are your thoughts on Eddie Maguire linking Adam Goods to King Kong on Triple M radio this morning? He did try and make up for it, but he made the comment. Yeah, I did hear it. Obviously a little bit disappointed about it, as far as he did a fair bit of work after that incident with Adam last week, and to his credit, he came down and he handled it really well. But to make a silly comment like that, bit of tongue in cheek, but hope it doesn't undo all the work he's done in the past, and it just goes to show that tongue in cheek or anything, you're sort of treading on fine line really. So just got to be careful.
Did you find the comment offensive?
Yeah, I did actually. Yeah, and feel for Adam. He's obviously been through a lot last couple of days and the last couple of weeks, and hopefully hasn't affected him too much. But he's a pretty strong man, and we know what Eddie's done, how passionate he is. So there's no doubt if he had his time again, he probably wouldn't say it.
He's obviously a personality of the game, but the fact that he's on the president? Does it make it worse?
Well, he's on the radio show. That's his on Triple M. So it's a bit of a fun show. They sort of have a bit of fun in there, but he's also a big name, not just obviously for the whole competition. Yeah, it's sort of. I think if he had his time again, he wouldn't say that. And, he's got a lot of weight behind what he says. So it travels a long way.
Brent got away to Utah during his suspension last year. Any similar plans this year, do you know?
I think the boys are actually talking about it then on the football field, on the training track. I'm not too sure. Might be nice to sneak away for a couple of weeks. But yeah, no, I can't answer it. Sorry, I don't know.
So Brent, does he normally 350 actually hit home with you? Everyone else looks and says it's an astonishing figure, but as a bloke involved, what do you think?
Look, to be honest, the situation we're in right now, I couldn't care. It was my first game over 350. I just want to win. As I said before, we're playing some great footy. I just want to win the game. Yeah, I guess the only thing that changes for me is I get to run out with the kids, and I know, speaking to them last night, how excited they are. And my daughter Lacey and Wellesley's daughter Laudate, they're pretty close and they're good friends, so they'll probably run out holding hands or something like that. It'll just be good, and I'm looking forward to that most of all before the game, running out and sharing that with my family. Obviously sharing it with Daniel's 200th, but most important, it's just another game for us, and we just want the 4 points.
So many players get there. How have you managed to survive the longevity side of things and being able to get out there week after week after week after week?
Yeah, I think just adapting to the new. When I first started, I was trained Monday, Tuesday, Thursday at 4 o'clock, and 2 weight sessions whenever you wanted to. Now we're in here from 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock most days. It's been a huge transition, but it's just being able to adapt to the new game of football. It's evolved so much. Training has evolved so much. You train so much harder and longer now. But I guess the biggest thing, if I'm going to look back at it and think, why did I last so long, I guess it's just because I enjoy doing it. I missed my first day of training the other day with being sick. I actually rang up the club and I wanted to come in, but I had a little bit of a virus and they wouldn't let me come in case a couple of other boys caught it. So it's just literally love coming in, and whether it's just doing weights with the boys or training or coming to play, I just love being around the North Melbourne Football Club, and that's probably the answer.
Was that the first day ever?
Well, from being sick, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And Daniel, I mean, you said before 200 games you feel a little sore, etc.
Yeah.
And you said you're pretty good mentor. Can you take lessons from him even now as to how to hopefully push on to 300 or?
Yeah.
Can you still take lessons from him now?
I think preparation's the key. He's the ultimate professional in everything he does. Recovery, the smaller things really matter, and it all adds up. And to his credit, he's just stuck in those ways now, and they're the right ways. And all the young kids have we speak about him every. The coach just absolutely speaks about how professional he is, and he's probably the most professional he's ever seen. And that's all I've seen as well. So I don't know any better, but it looks like he's the best. He's the best out there. So. If you can take anything away from him, is the way he prepares for a game, mentally and physically, and give himself every opportunity to play the best foot he can play.
You had hype from probably first or second waffle game, and even building from there to the draft and then getting how do you handle it?
I think when you first started, it's pretty exciting, and you think you're going to be that's going to continue, sort of the way you played, and you get that hype because you sort of obviously played some good footy and stuff. But when you get to the big leagues, it sort of changes a fair bit. You're almost going back from primary school to high school, and you get knocked around a fair bit, and your body goes through some changes, and you sort of get racked around your head with criticism when you're not really used to it, because I think as a junior you're always doing things right and you're always on top, but it really tests your character, what you're made of, and if you've got good family support and a great club to back you up and keep guiding you in the right direction. That definitely helps, and none other than my mum and dad, who probably from day one have obviously took me around to where I am now, and that's led on to my wife, who's probably been my greatest support.
Can I just ask, is it all more special given all the setbacks and issues you had last year, year before? Does it make the milestone more special?
It does a little bit, but at the same time, I'm a bit like Brent. Like the way we've sort of played of recent, doesn't really worry me too much at this stage that it's my 200th. It's just, it really is. It sounds a bit funny, but we just want to win. And we'll look back at it later on, you know, once we finish footy, because, you know, that's when you'll have more time, because next week it's 201, you know, so something we just really want to win our games, and obviously have some fair bit of injuries and some health issues, but you sort of forget about those things pretty quickly when you're out in the ground and trying to get the 4 points. It's super hard to get 4 points these days.
I think when you finish your career, you reflect on the milestone games and some things you've won along the way, or you've been lucky enough to win a best and fairest or anything like that. But milestones, I think, is something that you definitely look back at in your career. And say I played 350 games at one club and 200 games at one club. That's special, you know, to us. So I think reflection at the end of your career becomes a whole lot more important than doing it right now.
Brent, you started as an 18-year-old in 96.
17, yep.
17. How do you go relating to the 17, 18-year-olds that come into the club there?
Yeah, it's a bit different, but it's good. It's challenging because they come in and they're nice and fit, and you try to keep up with them in the run, and you give them a bit of slack when you beat them, and they give you a bit when they beat you. But it's good. You know, they all live in a little house together, and they go out every single night for dinner. I go home to my family, and you know, and it's completely different lifestyles. But I can remember back then, and like the only thing that we try to pass on to our young guys, just enjoy it as much as you can. Work hard, enjoy it, embrace the football club, because if you embrace the football club embraces you, and that's our culture here, and that's what we try to instill in the boys. So it's not hard to adapt to a 17-year-old or an 18-year-old when you're trying to teach them the morals of our football club.
I know most people aren't in the nature of looking back, but does 99 feel like a lifetime ago? And
yeah, it does.
Remember to think about it?
Think about it, yeah, I do. I was pretty naive because I come to the football club at a great stage of our history. And, you know, 96, I played in the reserves, premiership, seniors won it, 97, prelim, 98, lost the granny, 99, won the flag, and I'm thinking, I was 21 years old then, I'm thinking, I'll probably be a 4 or 5 time premiership player. This will be pretty easy. This will be great career, you know, 5 time premiership player. But being so naive, I haven't played in the grand final since, and you realise now how much hard work it is to actually get there and then win it again. So I do think about it, yes.
Is there another one you need to get?
I certainly hope so. I hope it's this year. Like I said before, we're playing some great footy, I think, every single time I run out, and I'd be very disappointed if the other 21 blokes didn't think the same, but I think that we can win every week. If we win every game for the rest of the year, we win the premiership. That's what I think. So, can we win another premiership? Most definitely.
Has there been a point, I guess, in the past couple of years, you've rocked up for pre-season and go, surely this is the year that Broomer's slowed down a bit, surely this is the year I can get him in the sprints or the time trials or anything like that?
Oh, I can get him in the sprints and the time trials. Nah, he's quite a special player when you think about it. Even last week against Adelaide, he's still getting run with. You know, it's a credit to him to be, you know, still one of the most important players in the team, and he's in his last couple of years, and hopefully he can play for a couple more. There's no doubt about it. And you know, I definitely think that first 6 weeks where he didn't play will probably contribute to that next year. Hopefully, if he decides to play on. But yeah, it's just an absolute mighty effort to be still it's almost the number one player in your team, and you're coming towards the end. So it's a great effort.
Brent, Dustin Fletcher's eyeing that magical 400 game milestone, and as Daniel said, you missed the first 6 weeks. How is the body feeling, and are you mentally fresh enough to go for maybe another 1 or 2 seasons?
I thought this might have came. Look, to be honest, the body's great because I missed the first 6 weeks. I've only played, you know, a couple of games back now. So mentally, I'm fine. Physically, I'm fine. Do I think about next year? No, I don't. Because I honestly think if you think too far ahead, you just lose what's important right now. And to us, what's important right now is to start winning some football games and getting back into the top 8. So I honestly don't look too far ahead. And I know people are going to say, yes, you do, but I don't. I'll sit down at the end of the season, hoping the coach says, we need you to play. If he says that, I think I'll be more than happy to sit down again. But the one thing that you got to always remember, your football does the talking. And I know I've seen a lot of players, and I speak to a lot of players at the end where they say, you're going okay, and then you just fall off a cliff straight up, you know, really quickly. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. But, yeah, I I don't think about it just because I want to stay right now in the present and help the football club as much as I can right now.
Daniel, you had your share of groin issues for a couple of years there. How important has Steve Saunders been since he's come to the club for you?
Oh, it's been been fantastic. When I did have my groin problems, I struggled a fair bit mentally and physically, obviously, and then I saw him towards the later end of the injury when I just started to get in the rehab and before he came to the club. And ever since he's been here, he's pretty much been, formed a real close bond with him and relationship, and purely because we've spent a lot of time together and we don't mind getting out to have a bit of hit of golf as well. He's a pretty good golfer, so I think what he brings to the club is just very similar to Brent, the ultimate professional in what he does. He shows a lot of care, which is extremely important, and to the club and to the players, and the boys can feed off that. And he's obviously got the knowledge, second to none. So the boys put a lot of trust in him, and he's helped me produce some of my best footy, no doubt about it.
Paul, going home, ever grabbed you at any point? Have you always been, this is me?
Maybe early days I thought about it, but the club, my first contract, they slapped the big contract in front of me, so I was like, I couldn't believe it after my first 2 years there. So, but to show that kind of faith in me, and I just really fell in love with the club pretty early. And when I first came here, it was quite we obviously we lived in portables, training out of portables and stuff like that. But to be honest, that's similar to the way I was sort of grew up, and you had to sort of earn everything you got, and I really enjoyed the way it just sort of mimicked the way I was, the person I was, and the way I grew up, and I just been very impressed and loved the way the club's to where we are now, and the facility we sit in now, and the way we've sort of come as a group. I've just loved being a part of that journey and being, I think Brent said before, to have 200 games in one club, there's something I'll look back on and feel a part of this club, really deep down.